already warm in here. I shut the air conditioner off last night because he turned the wood heat on. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday beginner classes. Oh, look at the mess behind me. We're in the process of redoing that area, and I didn't realize we were going to have a picture right there. Anyway, well, we know Amy Pache's not on here because she messaged and said she doesn't do 9 o'clock.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. So, good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Shelley.
I can't remember what week this is in the beginner series.
I can't either.
Let's see.
Okay, hi
Lost
Sandra.
track.
So we are going to do an easy class for us with it that didn't take a lot of prep because we just got back from Texas. So after we show you how we put borders on, I'm going to show you how I do it, and Twyla's going to show you how she does it. We are going to give you a little preview of about what we brought back from the show and talk a little bit about the show. Okay? Okay, so we have a quilt on the floor. Twyla, do you want to say anything about any of it?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like maybe talk a little bit about
The importance
of measuring borders. Now, I know there are going to be some of you guys out there that never measure a border, and that's fine if that's the way you quilt.
And it works for you.
And it works for you. That's fine. But I guess maybe one of the ways that we see it a lot is like with quilts that are brought in to be quilted, right? That's where you sometimes get into trouble. It's not so much in sewing the borders on if you don't measure that you get into trouble. The trouble is when you go to quilt your quilt, that you sometimes have extra fullness in the borders, and it's very hard to work that in because the middle of your quilt, if it's a lot tighter, won't stretch enough to flatten out the ripples in the border. So that's why it's important to take measurements and whatnot. So I think there's two sort of common ways that people measure. Some people measure just one measurement across the center of the quilt in each direction. And some people measure, they take 3 measurements. They take the top measurement, the middle, and the bottom, and then they average that out and cut that length for their border. So what that does, either one of those methods, what that does is if your quilt is already a little wonky, and by wonky, that happens. It does, especially if you're working with bias quilts. All it takes is that you stretched a couple pieces on one side a bit more and you stretch the other side, and you've got maybe an inch difference. It is rare that we measure a quilt that the two sides, opposite sides, are exactly the same, and the top and the bottom are exactly the same.
Even on the most perfect quilt.
Exactly, right?
Even on Twyla's quilts.
Oh no, my borders are like, oh baby. And this is a riot, me talking about borders, because I'll let you guys know, borders are my least favorite part of a quilt.
She would rather make a whole nother inside of the quilt than put a border on.
I'd rather make another 80 blocks for a quilt than put borders on. I absolutely detest doing borders.
Why is that?
I don't know. I love binding. Most people hate binding.
Yeah,
I love binding.
I hate binding.
But anyway, so what it does is when you take that measurement either across the center of your quilt, and typically the center of your quilt is your biggest measurement.
Yeah.
That's what we see in the quilting frame all the time, is that when you quilt across the top, as you get down to the middle, it gets a little bit wider, and then it seems to go in again down at the bottom. And that seems to be the most...
my body shape.
Mine too. So if you take that middle measurement and then you cut your borders, you've probably got plenty of stretch to stretch those out to get those to sew on, and then both sides, once they're sewn on, are going to be the same length because you cut your borders the same length for both sides.
And then any fullness in the quilt will be stretched out into the frame, and 9 times out of 10 work.
Yeah. So where we seem to see the biggest problem with borders is when people just lay their quilt down in a strip of border and just let it feed through the machine. That's when you sometimes get that extra fullness. That because the feed dogs feed one fabric through at a faster rate than the other does, right? So then you get that ripply fullness that you've got to try to stretch out. And sometimes you can stretch it out if it's not too bad, and then sometimes it will actually make puckers in your quilt as the as the machine goes over it. So that's just, but you guys do what you do. Whatever works for you.
Yes.
So we're going to just show you roughly what we do to get a measurement. We're hoping we can aim this down at the floor. Oh, we can. Look at that.
That's why I can move here. So we get a measuring tape. Now, I know this quilt is pretty square because Lloyd made it.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to flatten it out so it looks pretty flat, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to get my measurements. Okay. I got my measurement there. I'm going 91.
Okay.
And then we would measure the top and the bottom to get the 3 measurements. Then you would add those measurements together
and divide
it by 3. Okay? So I already have my
now, if you're home alone and you don't have somebody to hold your measuring tape,
that's a good point.
I've used a chair leg. I've used a table leg. I've used a big heavy can of, what do you call them, crushed tomatoes, those big cans. I've used one of those on my measuring tape. It is possible to do it alone.
At the show, I talked to a designer of notions and tried to get her to come up with some type of gadget that holds one end of the quilt down well. But we'll see if she gets that done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to take this in and I'm going to show you. So I've already cut this. I know that it's the right measurement. I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how I put it on the.
And she does a really unique technique.
Well, I don't know if it's.
It is. Okay, now guys, I'm going to cover you up while I walk so you don't get. Oh, I say I am. Where's the camera on this? Oh, we're turned the other way, aren't we? That's what's going on. Well, there we go. No, it didn't cover. Okay.
Oh, really?
Just so you don't get dizzy as I'm weaving through the shop here. Okay. Here we are.
So, I was going to have my sewing room cleaned up, but I just ran out of hours.
I find that hard to believe.
So I hope we measured it right, because I haven't even tried this to know that we did.
Did you pick up the right side?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. That's always a good thing, is after you measure one way, make sure you pick up the right side that you're sewing it to.
So I am going to put it in my frame like this. You might have to back up as I back up. So then I get up and I walk away from my machine. I take both ends and I totally...
I'm going to be on my butt in the corner here trying to... Okay, here we go.
Okay. We should have taken my machine out in the kitchen. So I'm going to match up this end so that it's perfectly right on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to pull it as tight as I can. And then I'm going to fold it like an accordion. I don't use any pins.
Her way is so neat, but I cannot make it work for me. I'll just be honest.
You just have to practice. Do it a couple of times. And then sew it on.
So she's maintaining traction with her hand where she accordion folded it there so that it doesn't move.
And then when I get to where I don't have any more space to sew, I release the top fold.
So now she's going to let go.
I got to let go of my top fold.
And pull back and get the tension back on it again. There she goes, and now she's releasing again.
And then you come right to the end. It still matches perfect.
I know, Lynn. Isn't that neat?
So that's how I put my borders on. Now, where's... Oh, yours is there. You need some pins, don't you, Twyla?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to show you what you should see there.
She's going to get the pins. Okay. Yeah, that's how I do it. Practice makes you better, Nancy. You're right. Oh, is it called the squeeze box method? I call it the accordion method because I kind of fold it like an accordion. Okay, so
all I do, these I can spill on the floor. I take my border, I fold it in half, and I put a pin. What are you doing, Deborah?
It tipped over.
Good heavens.
I'm sorry, everybody. I was trying to...
Did you guys get a bump on the noggin?
It hit my hand.
Over.
Okay, so whatever she does with that, I'm going to do with this side. What did you do? Go in the middle?
Yeah, I go in the middle of my border and put a pin. Then I take one end, bring it up to that pin so that it's even. And down here at the fold, I put another pin.
So I'm putting a pin halfway through the quilt, right where she put her halfway mark.
Yeah, and then I just take the other end and pin it.
So you take this border into the middle pin, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Take it
I had
right
to
in.
stop, look where you were. Yeah. And I just put another pin.
And put a pin there.
And then once you have both pieces pinned, you just match them up and pin them, and then so.
Okay, I gotta pin my other side.
So that's for those of us who aren't as slick as Deb.
Well, you probably get yours on just as well.
No, I don't actually. I struggle with borders, I'll tell you.
Okay, so I have can I have one more pin?
One more
this.
pin right here. There you go.
So then you're gonna lay your
So you can either pin the whole bunch together right now, or I quite often just pin my first one, sew to that, then pick up my next two and pin and go to that.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
Just because I'm too lazy to do it all. So I'm just matching up these two pins that were right here.
Sewing that on. Oh, when you actually pin it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I just go find my pin there.
Okay.
And then I sew to that pin, and then when I get to that pin, I match up the next two, and that's all I do.
Can I give you that? And
You can.
All right.
I gotta turn this puppy around again here. There we go. So I hold on where the pin is.
And then you just pull it?
Yep. Just to keep it even.
Okay, then you're stopping
So
there.
yeah, and then I just match up the next two and put a pin. So it's basically the only difference. It's the same technique as yours. It's just that you hold all yours in your hand, and I find that awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I think I hold my hands different when I sew than what you do, and I think that's why I find it awkward. Yeah. Do you always see the border on the top?
Does she mean so?
Do you mean sew, Nancy? Oh, with the border on the top as opposed to maybe on the bottom of your machine, maybe?
I always put it on the top.
I'll tell you what I do, Nancy. It depends on what my quilt is. If my quilt has a lot of points that's going to match up to the border, I sew so I can see my points in case I need to fudge, which does happen.
No.
But if, like, say you're on your second border and it's just a plain border, the first one, so that there's nothing that you're not going to cut any points off, I don't really care which way I sew. But I do have a tendency to sew with my quilt top on the top if there's something I want to watch. Does that make sense?
Okay. It's good if you don't run out of thread.
Oh, my word. Okay, well, they got the drift.
I know, but I need to sew that other one on.
Well, one end is on,
Right.
right?
Okay.
You're good. One end's on.
Yeah. Okay.
But you do need thread for the next end.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Nancy, that's what I do too. Steph says, pins in your mouth, you'd fail home ec. We'd all fail around here because, man, we always have a mouthful of pins.
We do. I'm going to go get the other border and show you how you put it on.
So I'm just going to show you, what did I do? Oh, is that it? Look down on the table and see if that piece of folded up one I brought is out there. Okay. I'm just going to set this down for a minute, guys. There, I had to get a different hold on it. Okay, here we go. That's better.
Okay, there's yours.
So, I'm just going to show you what we were talking about. Can we just set that here? Yeah, and then I'm going to turn the camera around to show them.
Making you guys
there
dizzy this morning.
So, just to show you guys what the machine will do if you just let it feed itself through. These two pieces, when I started, the burgundy and the light, were the exact same length. I cut them the exact same length. So without measuring your quilt or without pinning or holding it in place, when I just ran this through the machine without holding it in place, see the difference in that one length? Because your feed dogs feed the bottom fabric through faster than the top does. So that was only on that length of fabric. So if you had a queen size quilt, by the time you got to the end, you'd almost have an extra inch of fabric rippled up.
That has to be
worked out, you know, like has to be flattened out and stretched out because you've got that extra fullness. So on a queen size, you'd have a good inch because that's a half an inch there.
Oh my gosh, Shelly's out walking already.
Oh my word. And it's cold.
It's cold, Shelly. I hope you
probably wanted to get out before the snow starts.
Yeah. Okay, so I have this quilt, this next border measured.
Oh, you did measure it and pin it?
Yeah.
To where it should be.
Where it should end up. So I'm going to sew this border on without measuring it. I put a little mark there to show where it should end. So
she's just going to sew it on, let the machine feed it through at the rate it feeds it through, and I'm going to pick this up again.
See where it ends up. Maybe it'll end up right. I don't know. But I just want to show you the possibility of it being wrong on a whole length of a quilt.
Oh, it's snowing in Carlton and...
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So Lynn says, what about using a walking foot?
Well, I don't use a walking foot.
I don't either.
It might feed it through more equally.
It probably does, and you might not have the issues. But not everybody has a machine with a walking foot either, right? You know, and that is the point behind it all, behind a walking foot, is to help your fabric feed through evenly. So if you do have a machine with a walking foot...
I still say measure.
I would too.
I would still. Because that doesn't affect the bias cuts, especially if you've sewn a quilt on point. Right?
Yes.
It might feed it through, but...
Yeah.
I should have done this in a big stitch, so when I take it off, I would do it on right. I wasn't thinking.
Maybe it's going to work out perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe our theory is like out the window.
I know it's not going to. I'm going to say, Wally.
Oh, do you have your? Because you wanted to show your electric seam ripper. Is it in here? Most people have, but we don't know if some of the Dana, the FAFs with the, what is it called? The IDT. Those are actually really nice because it's not near as bulky as some walking feet I find very, very bulky on the machine to work around.
But that doesn't control the bias cut of fabric that you're working with.
No, it doesn't. And if you stretched or pulled it when you're putting your quilt top together, yeah. And there is a certain amount that you can work in when you're quilting. You know, there's no such thing as a perfect quilt.
There is not.
So.
Yeah, I thought I would have more of a discrepancy.
Well, you got almost an inch there.
I got an inch difference.
Yeah. From where...
That's where it should have been.
So she had a pin. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a pin there.
So I'm taking that whole thing off because... I bet you they're out in the shop. I'll show my
So in this case, it's not the border that's going to have the fullness because the border was on the...
Right.
Is on the top. It's the center of the quilt that's going to have the fullness that she would have to try to stretch out and quilt it down.
And so I will definitely take that off. I would not use it.
Yeah.
Would not. So that's the border. We're going to go out and show them some fun things that we brought back from Texas.
So that's just our recommendation is that you do the measurements, right? That you
Want me to
do.
put the
You got it?
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, we're going back out to the shop because that's where all the goodies are from Texas. We thought we'd show you the border first. So those of you that really weren't even the least bit excited about seeing what we got in Texas could leave. Or okay, so get the back situated up here. Okay, so we had a pretty good time in Texas, didn't we?
We certainly did. It was amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to meet so many nice people, not even just the designers.
No,
like
just everybody, like even other shop owners and stuff. They were so friendly.
they were very
and
friendly.
So it was a really nice experience in the fact that when you go to like quilt markets or like Quilt Canada or those type of things, like it's very crowded when it's busy. So this, because it was
Just for
focusing
shop
shop
owners.
owners. Whoops, sorry,
Whoops.
I scratched you. It wasn't as busy. Now this week is the Quilt Festival, which is open to the public.
Anybody.
So even if you went by a booth where you wanted to talk to somebody and they were busy, you knew if you went back by later, you'd get a chance. So it was really, really nice.
Yeah, you didn't have to stand and wait for somebody to get away so that you could see
Yeah.
the tables. It was just,
Yeah,
it was a really good experience.
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
So I'm going to show you some goodies. Goodies. We have some machine gloves.
Krista Quilts. You guys probably have watched her on Instagram or whatever.
Not me.
No, she didn't know who she
I
was.
didn't have a clue.
So she's the lady who does most of her quilting with a domestic machine, and she designed a lovely big table, like that folds up very compact, but it allows the weight of your quilt to be distributed, and she does really good hand quilting on large quilts.
Janet says, would we go again? Heck yes.
Yeah. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yes. So the very first day we were there, if we ramble too much and you want to leave us, then that's okay. But we're going to tell you a little bit. The very first day we went was like a schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to sign up for classes. And the classes were, 20 minutes long. They gave you a schedule and you could pick
20,
which one.
25, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had like 5 minutes to go to
get
your
to the
next class.
So we did that for a full day.
Yeah.
So we got to meet everybody close and personal because in the classes there was only like 30 people.
Yeah. There was a couple bigger ones in
Yeah,
there, but the majority
some of them were popular.
So in each time slot, there was probably, 8 choices? That, like, say from 10 till 10:20, you had to pick from, like, say, 8 options, which one you wanted to go to.
Next year we'll break up probably.
We did
a bit
break
more,
up a little this
but
year.
not as enough.
But
maybe.
not enough. Like, you could get more in if you each went in separate directions.
I thought we go together so that we can both get these ideas so that neither one of us forget them.
Right.
Like we
Yeah.
could bounce ideas off each other, but that might not have been the smartest thing to do. By Annie had, and most people when you went into the schoolhouse gave you grab bags.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave away stuff. Annie's gave away the best, I
did.
think.
They did.
So she gave us her 5 newest patterns.
4? I can remember.
This one and this one,
You're missing something.
this one, and this one. 5.
Yeah, right. 5.
So we have 5 new patterns. So this is Annie's newest pattern. It's called Courtside. It's for a tennis racket. This zipper makes it open up so that the racket fits inside of it.
But
You don't.
when you opened it up, it would have been the perfect size to put like a small laptop or your tablet or whatever in. Like, and the inside pockets were wonderful.
A lot.
And the back of it, was that the one that hooked
Yeah,
on your?
it hooks on your luggage
It hooks on your luggage.
for airports.
So it was really like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's just for tennis use or whatever.
Tennis or
racket
pickle or
use.
whatever
It
you-
was
A racket of
Yeah.
some sort.
really good bag.
Yes. So Simple Wallets was another one that she had, which was a really, like she said, like an hour or 2
Yeah, that
project.
one was
You can
really
make that up in
simple.
no time. Ditty bags.
So she had these out before, but I think this is like the new and revised edition. She's always trying to figure out ways
I
to
think this was
improve
the
her
new
pattern.
revised, was it?
I think it was too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any of the ones that say 2.0, that usually means that
They've been updated.
they've been updated. They've tried to either make the directions easier to follow or like steps easier
Tweaked
to do.
them a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Then she had Payday. This was a really cute wallet, and you could put
Very
a strap on it if you wanted it to be an over-the-shoulder thing.
Yeah, and it was 3 sizes.
Yeah, it was nice. And look, Tula Pink signed it.
I've got to admit that when you go and look at Annie's booth, because her booth is always very sharp,
Yes.
that the bags made out of Tula's fabrics, like Tula's fabrics really shine. In her patterns. They really do. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
amazing.
And then Out to Lunch.
Which was the lunch kit that's been out before, but they
Yeah.
revised it or whatever.
How long to get the tennis bag pattern? They're in stock, I think, because they're brand new. So it would be a couple of weeks. You're going to look at it? So we got the Out to Lunch signed as well. So we have 4 of these, and they're going to be gifts to our viewers on a Friday night show. We've saved some of these things for retreat prizes, but we are going to, we might do 2 at the retreat and 2 on a Friday night. We're not sure. But 2 lucky people, at least on a Friday Night Frenzy, are going to win the signed copies by Tula. We did that and we did that. Okay, that's courtside. So,
Courtside is expected like next week at the suppliers.
okay. So it'll probably be 3 weeks before we got it in.
Mm-hmm.
If you want anything, you can't comment here, please.
Message us if you want.
Yeah, message if you want to order a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So this one,
That's a free pattern.
that's a free pattern, and it's going to be one of our giveaways. That is made with a mini charm.
Which I think we got, didn't we? That's not the right
That's
one.
not the right one.
No.
I don't know which one it is.
It's the
winter
it's
one?
that one.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
this one.
That one.
So it comes with the charm to make it. So somebody is going to get this in their bag. Not sure how we're going to give them away yet, but we're going to. This was another free pattern that we got.
That's cute.
Isn't that cute? Some of these patterns we've got extra of for the shop. Isn't that cute? So there's another one of those free. We got a Riley Blake quilting calendar for 2024. I think you.
They are cute. Look at all the scrappy
I
blocks.
know. So somebody's going to win that. We have a Poppy Cotton 5-inch square charm pack called Bloom True. These are new colors, aren't they?
Yes.
These are the newest release. Somebody's going to win that.
They had 3 or 4 new lines releasing.
Yes. So, yeah, there was a lot of nice fabric there.
Mm-hmm.
These are new fabrics that are coming out by P&B. And they made mug rugs and gave us mug rugs of the fabric. And we ordered some of this.
And that, like, until you
See it in a quilt.
So that is one of the things that we could not get over.
Yeah.
That when we see, where's our catalogs? Like, just to give an example.
The Northcott one's right there.
Where?
Keep going. Right there.
Right there, okay. So when we get our catalogs, like, see these quilts? Like the pictures?
Do you see that quilt?
Like, sometimes you skim by them and you think, oh, they're
that's
okay.
cute.
Like, they're cute, but when
We
you see those in real life,
That is the most
that
beautiful
is the
quilt.
most gorgeous quilt you ever wanted to see. In
And we're
real life.
ordering all the fabric for it.
But that was what we couldn't get over, is that how, like, pictures just don't do it justice.
No.
Because ones that we had seen in the past, like that we had skipped over, when they showed the real quilt, it was like, oh my word, that is drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, and another thing we commented on about the quilts was so many people were using dark backgrounds.
Very much so.
Hardly it.
Yeah. And
Hardly
not just
any.
dark backgrounds like that you would think. Like,
Black.
for instance,
Wasn't black.
it would be colors that when you looked at what they used for their main body, like one quilt had very much fall colors, oranges, rusts, tans. And what was their background color? It was like a slate gray, like a bluish slatey gray
Yeah.
that you would not have mixed. Like, or I wouldn't, I should say. I probably wouldn't have even considered that as a background.
Yeah.
You talk about sharp. It was really sharp.
There was hardly any quilts there with a white background. And we noticed that coming into the shop when people come in, because people have pets as children now.
Yes, they do.
And they want a quilt that their pet can get on
And so they quite often say, "Oh, that one's
But that's too light. It'll
Yeah,
show
I
the
wouldn't
dirt.
let my dog on that.
So you're going to be seeing some quilts coming out from us that have darker, medium to dark backgrounds, just as a little twist. This one, this is my favorite. Girl, this is my favorite. Okay, so we met a new fabric designer, and her name is Pammy Jane. Pammy Jane. And Pammy Jane, if you're watching, we love you. They were so down to earth.
They were.
And so fun. So approachable. Like, it was just like you knew them forever. Like, they were that type of people.
Yeah.
She designs unique patterns and really nice fabric. She has a new fabric line called Kitty
Litter.
Kitty Litter.
Deb keeps wanting to call it kitty poop.
It's called Kitty Litter. And we ordered 12 of the patterns. They are really cute.
They are.
She is, I can't imagine calling your fabric Kitty Litter, but she's a cat lover, among other things.
Yeah.
And you can't really see it because it's such a little thing. I don't want to open it up because somebody's going to win this. And it comes in a little case.
With a measuring tape.
Was that tape in there when we?
Yes.
Yes, to yourself. So somebody, we have. Do we have
Two
one?
of those.
Do we have two to give away?
Mm-hmm.
So we have two of these to give away. This one.
So this is also
the new fabric.
So this is Moda's latest designer, Heather Briggs.
Yes.
And her husband were very down to earth and sweet people too.
Probably the nicest booth there. Oh, I shouldn't say that because it's hard. But it was beautiful.
They did for her first market like this. Like she certainly made a really big impression. Like her booth was gorgeous.
Yeah. It just.
And her line of fabric is so soft and so
Did
pretty.
they give us fabric? I thought they did. We might come across it. Oh, what's that?
No.
No.
I don't know. Can't remember.
If we're going on too long, you guys.
Log off if you don't want.
Yeah, because we're just rambling. Okay. So this pattern is a free pattern. So some people are going to get free patterns.
Mm-hmm.
These could have even gone in a surprise bag with fabric.
So these are a lot of the new fabrics that were shown there are the ones that we're ordering now, like from the fabric designers, and they aren't coming out till after the new year. Sometimes some are February, some are March, some are April.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Fig Tree, we got a sample of their fabric, jam and jelly, and you know what? I'm going to be honest with you; those did not speak to me.
Even when we saw the big bundles.
But
But
when you see the quilts.
when you saw her quilts hanging up there, Joanna Figueroa's quilts hanging up there, they were absolutely beautiful.
So then I have to rethink my whole ordering process.
Yeah.
Because they are really nice quilts. Sometimes when you look at a bundle, it doesn't speak to you. When it's made up.
I know, right?
It's just amazing. So look at this. You see all these patterns?
Mm-hmm.
These are all patterns. Typically, a lot of these types of patterns come in surprise bags, for those of you that wonder. So this lady gave us, what do you think, 30?
That was
about 30 free different patterns.
Yeah.
So we have all these new patterns. We each got a pack. So we got like 60 free patterns.
Yeah.
And they're real,
So that's Villa Rosa, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So is that pattern coming that we ordered that fabric for? Was that in here, do you think?
I don't know if that was in there or not.
She has a pattern. Sometimes these patterns.
That was another good example.
I know.
The quilt that we saw. Okay, so it was this fabric.
It was.
That was out of these posters.
I hope it's here. I'm looking quickly.
They had a quilt in their booth that was so drop dead gorgeous.
Oh my.
And yet, when we discovered what pattern it was that quilt was made of, we have seen that pattern in the past, and it didn't really.
This isn't the pattern, but it was a simple, basic pattern like this.
But when you put that fabric on it, it made a beautiful quilt.
And that fabric comes with a border fabric. And that border fabric was put in between each row. And the border fabric was
gorgeous.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. It was. Okay. Look at the poppy cotton charm we got. Look at the little chicken. I think of Shannon when I see that. And look, we got, so Corey Oder was there with these quilts. I'm sure you saw those. We took a picture of her booth. Her booth was amazing. Love her patterns. Oh, that's a better picture.
So those were her new ones. So you guys probably recognize this one. This is the sheep. A lot of you guys have done that pattern that had the rows of sheep going across it. It was one of her older patterns. So she just made, this was a bigger quilt. So I saw on Instagram that she was asking people to name her sheep. One of the suggestions was William, which I thought was cute.
It's cute. Anyway, we have a few of these stickers to give away, her stickers. So one thing we noticed at the retreat, everybody's doing stickers.
They are. They are.
Almost every booth has stickers.
So I don't know if it's to bling out your machine or what it is, but
anyway, they're cute. We got all kinds of stickers. People were giving stickers left, right, and center.
yeah.
Yeah, we got lots of stickers. So you might get a package with a sticker put in it. The Tipsy Needle. Yeah, so we had a lot of those stickers. We got some free magic pins. Yep. A couple of free pattern cards. Some of those. Oh, we got so much stuff. Another calendar. We showed that. Look at the little birds stickers. Aren't they cute? We got some Gamble lip gloss. Somebody might get some of that because that is a nice lip gloss. Everybody was handing out friendship bracelets.
And some of the people there were making it a competition, like
to see
two
who
friends
could wear
to
the
see
most.
who could gather up the most different bracelets or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, we did not. We packed extra suitcases, Janet.
we didn't buy any.
No.
So this is a necklace that you wear. It lights up only for an hour.
Well, for a day, she
Unless,
said.
unless you want to replace the battery. So it's not a long-lasting thing. This is from Carolina Moore, and she's a designer of
Notions.
quilting notions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few necklaces for people to wear just for fun stuff. Keychains. And of course we got the pins for the quilt festival. We got thread given to us. Oodles of thread. There's that Starbucks card. We won a Starbucks card.
We wondered where that went, and there it is.
Oh my gosh. I went to pack my suitcase to leave, and I found a pair of dirty underwear and a pair of pants. It's no wonder I can't find Starbucks gift card in all this. Got keychains. So, do you want to show them this, Twyla?
Sure.
Okay, so this is a brand new ruler that we're going to start carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a class that we're going to teach. We're not sure when we're going to do the class. But
This is pretty neat.
if you were to look at this block, you might say, oh, I can't do that, or that's over my head. If you can strip piece,
You can do this block.
you can do this. Believe it or not, this is strip piece.
So this is a new method that she's come up with to strip piece the Mariner's Compass.
Look at that. And there are no Y seams.
There aren't.
It's strip pieced. And,
And the one ruler does
Size.
16 sizes from 6 to 36 inches for Mariner's Compass.
so it can be
blocks.
a big center of your quilt, or it can be a 12-inch block, or look at them.
So you can get this ruler in two different styles. You can
Yes.
get this one, which makes, what did she call them?
Skinny and
Skinny
chunky.
pie and fat pie, she calls them.
Yes.
So she's referring to these wedge pieces. So this is called the skinny pie piece.
Because
But
we're so skinny.
But then the other ruler did, the pieces were fatter. But we both like the looks of the skinny one better.
Yeah. It was short and stumpy looking, the thing one.
Yeah.
So what we found there was a new way to package our pre-cuts. Look at this.
Well, not really pre-cut.
Well,
they're
they're yard
yeah.
cuts or meter cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, our collections. Look at this. These are poppy cotton boxes. Aren't they cute?
With 5 yards in a box.
Yes. And so we brought these back to sell because we bought these. So these boxes, well, we brought them back basically to show Karen Sampson so she'd know
What to do with the
what to do
boxes
with our
if we
fabric.
find the boxes.
So these are going to go on sale Friday night. They're $75 for a box of 5 yards. Look at the green teal one. Isn't that cute?
Pretty?
If we had, it is a pie box. If we had had more suitcases with us, we would have brought more back. Because aren't they cute?
They are.
I love them. So something else we found. Oh, so after the schoolhouse, we got to go to a shopping spree. And that's when
The sample spree.
and that's when you
Yeah.
see the pictures of all those people behind me and all those people in front of me. It was like a Black Friday sale like no other. Like people lined up at the doors, and when the doors opened, everybody just...
And it was like Frenchies on steroids.
Debbie Hansbiker would be good there.
Yes, she would. She would. Needless to say, I am not good there. Deb was wonderful.
Let me tell you a story. So, little miss, don't get in anybody's way.
I didn't want to be shoving and pushing.
I know. So we make our way around to the table, and this is my...
It was the Moda booth, which was probably the most popular
Where's
booth
my
there.
coveted bundles?
It's got to be in there, right? Yeah, there it is.
Okay. So this is the new Moda fabric coming out.
Not coming out till like what, April next
I
year?
know.
I
So
think?
these bundles that we got are pre-released. Like nobody around here has them in the
Yeah.
store. So I didn't knock anybody over, Stephanie, but I knew how to get through a crowd.
She did.
I wanted this bundle because I don't know if you all realize how much I loved Nantucket. This is a collection replacing Nantucket called Shoreline.
And look at those new taupey colors that's in it.
You can't
It
maybe
is
see?
absolutely gorgeous.
And the fabric made up in a quilt is just priceless. We saw the quilts. They are even better than the pictures.
So, Daisu, the one trip I did try to get pushy and make my way in, I was like shoving my way through to get to the table. This woman turned around and said, "Stop watching me." So that was the end of that. I was back at the end of the line again, but Deb was right up there.
So we were on one side of the table, and you didn't know where any fabric was because you couldn't see the fabric. And we were on the wrong side of the table, and I looked over and saw 5 of these bundles left.
She got there.
I said,
I don't know
Twyla.
how she got there, but she did.
I said, Twyla, follow me. So we're going through these crowds, and I get there. I got one of the last 5 bundles, and it
She
was
did.
beautiful. But I didn't get growled at for pushing.
No, but you
I
were doing
just
more
knew-
pushing than me. But anyway,
It was fun.
it was fun. Show your other bundles.
Oh, right. We have the new Kansas Trouble line called Chickadee Landing. Look at that. So that isn't out yet. Here you go. Oh, Wendy, that would be awesome.
12 by 12 by 3, what cheapest I have found is $33 for 25. We'll ask Chef if he can find
We
cheaper.
found, yeah,
Okay.
that would be cool.
This is gorgeous.
I gotta get the name of it. Antoinette. Look at this.
French General.
French General Antoinette. That is a beautiful piece of fabric.
But look at those blue colors, the soft blues with the reds. Aren't they gorgeous? Because typically a lot of their lines were just the reds or just the blues, but they've combined the
Combined
two
them
and
to-
they're beautiful.
I love them.
Beautiful.
Oh, we should tell them about our business cards.
Oh my Lord. You guys, like really.
Okay, so this was our first trip, and we wore a ribbon that said that we were first timers, right?
Mhm.
So, but that didn't excuse, because anyway. So, every place, and I mean every place we went to, every schoolhouse class we went to, every booth we went to, people were saying, "Can I have your business card?" We didn't take business cards.
Never even thought of it. Never crossed our
Never
mind.
crossed our mind. How stupid!
But guess
is
what
that?
they were doing with them? Like when you went into the schoolhouse, if you put your business card in this bag,
Yeah.
at the end they usually were drawing for a prize, like a fat quarter bundle or something like that. So Deb didn't let it stop her that she didn't have business cards.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So somebody gave us a free bundle. We got free bundles of these, right? So I took the cardboard out of the back,
Ripped it.
ripped it. It wasn't even cut. I ripped it in 4, and I made my own business cards.
So as they're hauling out the winning
Redneck
ones,
or what?
they're quite often saying, "Oh, look at
This
this
is the most
beautiful
beautiful
business
card."
card. Man, that's sharp." And then here's Deb's on a ripped up piece of cardboard.
But look what I won with my ripped up piece of cardboard. I kid you not. Oh my soul. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was. Yeah, we had a few chuckles over it, but we did win this. Where's? Oh, I threw. Okay.
Oh, you got Honey Bloom.
Oh, right, I had that bundle. Okay. Look at the other fabric
This
bundle.
is Three Sisters, is it not?
Yes. This is called.
Honey Bloom.
Right.
And look at those soft yellows and grays.
Oh, yes, Free Spirit was there.
Yes, they were there.
Oh, yes.
They were.
Exactly, Stephanie. We were hillbillies. It was fun.
Kaif was there.
Yep.
And Tula was there. And like the Free Spirit booth was there with all their different stuff.
Where's all the books we got? There they are.
Oh, they are there.
Okay, we better get going because we're dragging on too much. Somebody wanted these patterns, so we brought these patterns back. We only brought 4 of them. Somebody asked under the post. So if you like that, just let us know. This one
Isn't that cute?
does not look like much here.
But the quilt that she had made with it was
It
sharp.
was cute. I wouldn't put that bright gold in it, but that was a cute quilt.
It really was. Yeah.
Janice, I'm not sure if you'd like to go on a trip with us. Look, should we tell them about our trip home? Are you guys getting tired? Okay, so coming home. Does anybody want to hear the story? Yes, So Kind of Wonderful.
Yes, they were,
was
Nancy.
there.
We mentioned you every time we went by the booth. This is Nancy's booth.
Okay, so I'll tell you the grand finale, but at the end of our trip. So we go to the airport, and I have to go try to check in our luggage. So I go over to the check-in.
The automatic kiosk thing.
Right. There was this young boy there, 20,
I'd say.
all by himself. And he said, I gotta ask you something, he said. He said, can I have your credit card? I said, what? He said, yes. He says, I'm all the way. He was going back to Saskatchewan, but he had
been to Honduras or somewhere.
Yeah.
On a school trip to do diving or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Anyway, he said, I need to get my luggage home, and they won't accept cash to check in my thing. He says, can I have your credit card? And I said, just a minute. So I run back and I get Twilight. I tell her the story. I said, and of course her first impression is like, what?
Well, I hadn't seen him.
No, she hadn't seen him.
I hadn't seen him yet.
Long story short, we rescued him. We gave him our credit card, and we checked his luggage. So that was our first helping moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's a half hour before we get to the airport to get to load on the
board.
Yes. Yeah, that was before the announcement, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this lady in the airport stands up and says, is there a doctor in the house? No doctors in the house.
So we turn around and
So we
look,
turned around, threw our stuff on the floor,
and here's this man in his seat.
passed out completely, out of it. So Twyla and I picked the man up,
Got him out of the chair.
put him on
onto
the floor
ground.
because we think we're going to start CPR here. We get him in the recovery position,
And he starts to come around.
He starts to come
Pulse
around. He's
picks
got a
up.
pulse.
We figure he just fainted or he had a
Well, we
low
thought
sugar.
maybe his sugar was low, so we hollered, "Has anybody got a glucometer?" Somebody brought us a glucometer.
It wasn't a sugar.
Wasn't sugar, but that was before we gave him something to drink because we thought maybe his sugars were low.
Yeah, so somebody had Gatorade, so we gave him
So
some
somebody
Gatorade.
stranger gave him Gatorade. We gave
Because
him
he
some
was a
Gatorade.
diabetic.
He was, yes.
So that was our first instinct, but we were wrong.
So then he started throwing up on us.
Yeah.
My pants were wet.
I didn't get it on my
Before-
clothes, but I got sprayed
She
in
got
the
the
face. She got it on her clothes.
It was so much fun. Anyway, so then we get him up. He seems to come around. He just had a fainting spell or something. But
He hadn't been feeling well for a
He
couple
hadn't,
days,
no.
but they called the paramedics, and the paramedics took him and his wife
Right.
and whatever.
so then,
So Barfier was smelling pretty rank.
so then I said, "Well, I gotta go get some clothes out of my bag."
So in the middle of the waiting room, she opens her bag. Now, you guys, you have to
There's
know how
crowds
she
everywhere,
packs.
right?
And you have to know how she packs. Like, there's no packing. It's just like, open the bag and shove stuff in. So here, when she opens the bag, what's the first thing I see? Her dirty drawers.
underwear.
Her dirty drawers. Right at the top. I could just see her pulling a pair of pants and those drawers going flying, right?
So Twilight says, "Shh, put those underwear back."
See, hide those underwear.
So then I go to the bathroom and get cleaned up, and they bring in sanitizer, and we get all sanitized. And then we're sitting there waiting to get on the plane, and the announcement comes and says that there's
A 10-minute delay
because of a
while they
mechanical.
investigate a malfunction or something like that. And we're like,
Oh, good glory. So, So 10 minutes later, they start loading, so we think that everything's fixed. Everything is good. Twyla's in lineup, and she says, you know things always happen in threes, right? So we had already helped the boy. We had already helped the man. And so we got on the plane. Like 10 minutes before landing,
What do we hear?
all the alarms going off in the plane. Alarms
Sirens,
everywhere.
alarms everywhere.
And then a French voice comes on to explain everything. And
But they don't say it in English.
so Twyla looks at me. She says, "What did they say?" I said, "The plane is on fire. Make your way to the exit sign
calmly.
because Deborah and Twyla are going to help unload this plane."
Right.
We burst out laughing. The alarm's going off, and here we are sitting there just a hooting. Anyway,
We had a good trip.
we did. That was the end of our trip.
Yeah.
We didn't have to exit the exit sign.
No.
I could just picture. But you know what? We could picture when we went back before. Can you imagine if he had had that spell on the plane? But anyway,
Yeah.
that would have been bad.
Would have been.
But another bad thing is if Karen Sampson had been there with us,
Mhm.
we would have had another patient.
We would have had to lug her onto the plane because she doesn't cope well with those situations.
So I had put all my clothes in the garbage bag, and when they were laying here on the counter because I hadn't got them to the washer yet, and I said, Karen, I better go put those in the washer. And she said, oh, that's too much information, she said, and her stomach started to roll. And I'm thinking, oh, if you had only been there to see it. Anyway, that was our experience coming home.
So, are you going to announce this?
What am I? Oh, right. Okay. So, are we losing people? No, it's okay.
Well, they can log off and watch whenever they want.
Okay. Everybody's been asking what our block of the month is going to be because we're
Because
going to.
we're going to do a block of the month in the new year.
Yes. So, all details will be posted after the new
We
year.
have no details. We have
Nothing.
no kit prices. We have nothing figured
We're
out.
just giving you a sneak peek at what is
Mhm.
coming in the new year. This is going to be our block of the month. So long, Chatsworth. And we have one book that is signed by the author,
Doug Lico.
Doug Lico. We got to meet him. He was there.
Mhm.
So this is going to be our block of the month. If you want to, there will be kits because we ordered all the fabric.
We did. We did.
We did. So you can do it out of your scraps if you want, or you can order a kit, whatever you want.
Mhm.
Whoever orders a kit, all of those names will go into a hat, and somebody will win the signed copy.
Mhm.
So that's part of what's coming up in the new year.
Yeah.
What else do we have to show?
Well, my highlight was
Oh, Twyla's highlight, yes.
I have been waiting anxiously for this book, Celebrate with Quilts.
Yes.
And I got personalized autograph by both Susan Aki and Mona Lisa, who are the authors of the book.
So she got a book, and I got a book. And I'm giving my book away.
I'm not. Just saying, I'm not.
So somebody's going to win my autographed copy of that book. Not sure how or when, but yes. We got oodles and oodles of bags. This is a poppy cotton
Isn't that
bag.
a pretty bag?
Isn't that a cute bag? So somebody's going to win that.
Show me the Moda bag.
Oh, the Moda bag is so
It is
nice.
such a good quality. Like,
It's
this
like
is a heavy
thick canvas.
canvas.
Shop local. Don't listen to that. Shop online. No. Thank you. It's a Moda bag.
Yeah.
And thank you for shopping with me, everybody. You guys are amazing. So, we
then
got
we
this
got
book.
2 other books.
We got 2 other books.
These are signed,
These are signed. We don't know who she is.
or who they were, because there were 2 different people.
2 different people, but they gave these books away.
And if you got in line and got a ticket, you
So
got
we
yours
were
signed.
dumping lines everywhere.
Mhm.
So this book, we thought of Nancy Steves. But there's all kinds of patterns in it. It's not just that
So this
weird
is
snail.
Erin Krogan.
Yes. But there's owls in here. There's flowers. There's dishes. What else? Mushrooms. Curves. Modern quilts. Flowers. Anyway, somebody's going to win this.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then this one is by Linda Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a New York beauty.
got some paper piecing and some curves, and so pretty neat.
And both of those books are signed.
Yeah, they are. We must be getting close to the
We
end,
must
aren't
be.
we?
I don't know.
I think we
Let's
are.
check. Oh,
Oh, we got 2 of those. One of those.
one of those because we gave one to Karen.
Yep.
Stylet.
That came in the by
Annie's.
Annie's swag bag. And those
Yes.
are the best
Best.
stylets.
Yes.
They're
that
wonderful.
there is.
Everybody who uses them loves them.
This is the
That's
Flower
the
Girl
one that
bundle.
went with that little pattern that you had, right?
Yes, right on the bottom.
But I can't
This
find it.
fabric is so much nicer in person. I don't know if you guys can
It's
see it.
absolutely gorgeous. Those
Her
soft
line
colors. I can't
of
find
work.
that pattern. It's gone. We ate it.
Right here.
There it is. Yeah, it came
This-
with that.
This charm pack makes that pattern.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to win the charm pack. Let me see. That might be all we brought back. We brought back oodles and oodles of pins. Oodles and oodles of stickers.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Tape measures.
Yeah.
Mints.
Yeah. So watch your bags. Some people are going to get little treats in their bags, right?
Yes.
And some stuff will be drawn for, probably.
No, we did not get any fabric from Tula.
No.
Yeah, Wendy, that is a nice stylet, and it is really nice. Does that work with the new ruler? That new ruler, you can make any size block. So if you wanted to make any one of these quilts, I'm sure it can be adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? That was our trip in a nutshell. It is just like Christmas.
It was.
Lori
No,
Holt
Lori
was
Holt
not
wasn't
there.
there.
Did you have to bring that up, Eleanor? She missed Lori Holt.
That would have made my day. But anyway, it was wonderful. We met so many great people. It was awesome. It really was.
Riley Blake's booth was there.
Mm-hmm.
We did sleep, and we did have fun.
We did. We had a blast, actually.
I will say my toesies are freezing. Once you're done, I will be off to build a fire. So I'll get fried.
Okay, ladies, have a great, and gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen watching.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have a great
we
day.
will see you here. We will be back. Stacy and I will be back Friday night. Yeah, we had a positive adventure, that's for sure, Joanne. Oh, Stephanie said she appreciated the videos. The internet in the building was so
really
sporadic
bad.
that it was hard.
It kept kicking me off.
Yeah, I tried.
I don't know if it was
so
because
much
there
more.
was so many people there, or if it's because it was such a big steel building. I don't know, but it wasn't the best.
A lot of people on the internet. But,
Yeah.
Stacy's feeling better. So we will see you here. Wendy's going to be at the retreat Friday.
Yes, we will see some of you
So
at
we
the
have
retreat.
a new fabric line that we are going to show everybody at the retreat. And the main reason I'm going to show you at the retreat is because the samples that we have are very small. And if I held them up here now,
You wouldn't get a good feel for it.
you wouldn't
would
think, you would say, what's she so excited about?
Yeah.
These fabrics are coming from Denmark, and they are a great addition to something we have in the shop. But we will show them in person on the Friday Night Frenzy, and then probably in a couple of weeks, all the boxes will arrive. We ordered 49 bolts of it, and so then you'll get a much better visual of it.
Gorgeous.
So
Gorgeous.
Friday Night Frenzy will be held at the retreat.
But no review.
Right. No reveal. So we will, anybody that, take photos of your stamp. What stamp? Anyway, so, samples. So anybody at the retreat that helps with the Friday Night Frenzy, their name will go into a hat. And if we pull their name out, they will win something for helping us. So,
So parcels are being held this week, right?
actually they're not.
They're not?
No,
Okay.
we figured it out.
Okay.
So they are going to be shipped out.
Okay. Perfect.
No, Debbie, you can't use my visa. It's being used by a 20-year-old right now. I don't know if I did we meet the girls from A Quilting Life?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
we did. They were awesome.
Which booth was that?
The very first one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we made a beeline right for that booth.
We were their first visitors.
We were the first people that showed
We
up
were
at their
the
booth.
front of the line. We
Yeah.
got to them first.
Yeah,
They
did.
were sweet people.
They are sweet
And their booth was
people.
cute.
Their booth was
Their
their
quilts
booth was
were
sweet.
really nice.
Their
Very
work
nice.
is really nice. They do nice work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure
very
do.
nice. It was the strawberry lemonade line that they were promoting, and their quilts were and their projects were from that. They were really nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have new patterns coming for those of you that asked for that kitty litter quilt that was posted on the side of the wall. It's really cute. We have 12 of those patterns coming and a few of her other ones.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really look at their boobs. Jason Yenter was there, Lynn. Did you not see that video? I did a video for you and Wally with Jason Yenter.
We told Jason, Lynn, we told Jason about your tops and your matching
Yeah.
masks during COVID. He thought that was really cool.
He was really excited to think that somebody was making clothing with his clothes, with his fabric. Yeah. So your name was on our lips a lot. Okay, everybody.
Okay, have a great day.
See ya. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.